Hey everyone. So a friend of mine, Sean, does a lot of coaching using video, and I thought I would kind of experiment and try this out here at McKinsey Books and Tech Twice. So I want to go over email best practices, and then I will have an assignment for everyone to complete, which I'll talk about towards the end of the video. So first, let's talk about, this has been on my mind because I get a lot of email. I get hundreds of emails per day, and there is certainly, I think we can all agree that there's good emails and there's bad emails. There's email is used effectively, and then sometimes email is used not so effectively. So I'd like to first go over what is email great for, like what should we be using email for? First, it's great at giving clear, precise instructions. Like I'm talking about like a bulleted list of very clear instructions. We tend to like to do that more in process documents like an operations manual, but in some cases email is great for that, just to give some instructions. An FYI, so for your information, just general keeping people in the loop on certain topics. Email is great for that. Sharing documents, we share a lot of documents through Google Drive and Google Docs, and so using email not to attach documents but to link to documents so that people are accessing the live document. Notice I didn't say attach documents to email. Typically I don't like that because attaching things to email creates a copy of the document. Whereas linking to a Google Drive document, you're accessing the live document. It is the one and only document. So next I have light problem solving and approvals, which I will expand more on what that means and some good and healthy ways to do that and some not so good ways to do that. And then last, I have setting up a meeting and sharing an agenda. So when we're setting up a meeting, usually that happens as an invite via email, and agenda is sometimes skipped, but it is really important as we set up a meeting so that the attendees know what topics will be covered. Like, what are we talking about? It's clear expectations, the timeline is clear, and meetings will run smoother if we know what the goal is of this meeting. What are we trying to accomplish, and then what actions need to happen as a result. So what is email not great for? Email is not great for urgent queries. So just the nature of how much email everyone gets on a daily basis, things get buried quickly. People don't check email every single minute of their day. So not great for urgent queries. If something is urgent, there's other communication channels. Sometimes it could be a text message, sometimes it could be a phone call. It could be walking up to the person's desk. If something is urgent, we need to be thinking about not email, but other communication methods or channels. Next, I have medium to large problem solving and approvals. Generally, if a problem becomes a certain size, trying to solve that problem with an email is not usually effective. It's not an effective use of everyone's time. And I have kind of a rule of thumb when it comes to problem solving in emails. If an email thread has been replied to 5 times or more, and there's still not a resolution to that email, stop. Stop what you're doing and set up a meeting, because we're not being effective at that point in the use of email for problem solving. So next, I want to go over. I'd like to go over. Well, what makes a great email? What are the components of a great email? The subject line, super important. Like people get. A lot of people here, I believe, get hundreds of emails per day in their inbox. So creating what I'm calling a quick glance subject line. So a very descriptive, like what is the topic here, or can we summarize what action needs to be taken in the subject line is important. And maybe it ties back to one of these things, like is it instructions, is it an FYI? Are you sharing a document? Are you trying to solve a problem? So think about a clear subject line. The email needs to have some sort of clear action items. Now, if it's an FYI, sometimes we just need to say that, hey, this is just an FYI. Sometimes in email, you're asking for a reply. Sometimes the action is just a reply. Sometimes the action might be please set up a meeting. Or it could be some other task or something. So making clear what we need to be communicating in a clear way what action we're asking for. Next, I want to talk about the to versus CC line on an email. So, and that ties back to action items. So the person. Do not put everyone in the to field. So the person or people that need to take the action, they go in the to field. And then everyone else that's more of just the FYI part of things, just so people are in the loop on what the communication is, but they don't have the action, they go in the CC field. Okay? Now, as long as we've done this correctly, we should be using reply to all. And reply to all keeps people in the loop on the conversation. Like I said, as long as that conversation doesn't get excessive, like over 5 replies is getting excessive. Last one I have here, key information at the top. I can think of a lot of examples of recent emails where there's this big, long, informative email, and then at the very bottom, there's some really key information. Okay? We want to make sure that right out of the gate, we're putting key information at the top of emails so that, it's just the priority, like most important thing you need to know at the top. Stuff, when you have to scroll through, a lot of people just by nature skim emails, just because of the volume that we're getting. So if key information is at the bottom or in the middle somewhere, it's likely to be missed. Okay, next, I want to dig into, we're at 8:50. I want to dig into quickly light problem solving and approvals. So in terms of light problem solving, there's, I'd say, there's the worst emails, and then there's the best emails. And there's kind of a range between the worst way to do this and the best way to do this. The worst way to do this is if all we do is just state the problem. So state a problem. If we're just stating a problem, it's unclear, like, okay, who's solving this? What action needs to be taken? Is there a question? We don't know. So a little bit better is to state a problem and also ask ask one or more questions. So we've got some sort of, and here we're on light problem solving. Medium to large problem solving, it needs a meeting. So ask. We've stated a problem, we're asking questions. That's a little bit better. But the best way to do this is to state the problem, ask the questions, and then propose your own ideas and solutions. Propose ideas and solutions. So when we send that email, we want to make sure that we are when we are including our own ideas and solutions, like, hey, here's one possible idea for a solution I had. Here's the cool thing. It's much more likely to get an answer. Much more likely to get even a quick answer or an approval. That approval could be from your supervisor or your manager or from me, anywhere in the org chart, right? You might have some sort of problem and you're, so we don't want to just constantly just be answer givers. I don't want to do that, and I don't want the whole organization to do that, where we're just here's the answer, just do that. We don't want that. We want people to be proactive. I want to be an organization where we say, I trust your judgment, and I want you to propose an idea or solution. Now, that idea or solution, it might not be perfect, and that's okay. It might not be something that it might not be like what I would do to solve it. That's okay too, because oftentimes there are multiple ideas or solutions to solve a problem. Right? It's not one perfect idea or solution and Jim has it, or your supervisor or manager has it. So I want to encourage everyone on this. Your assignment is to find an example of either an email in one of these three states. Like, I mean, a lot of emails go around about problem solving here, so I don't think it'll be that hard to find an example. So the assignment is for you to email me an example of where either you sent an email or you received an email. Either one is fine. I just want you to look for this and send me an example of any of these three. Okay? I just want us to be more conscious of when this is happening in any of these three states. That assignment is due in 1 week, so September 8th. We'll just say 5 p.m. Please feel free to shoot me some questions. That's all I have. Thank you very much.